At JCK Hospital, we understand that a child's smile is priceless. That's why our dental services are tailored with care and compassion to ensure your little ones have the best experience possible. From gentle checkups to specialized treatments, our pediatric dental experts create a safe and friendly environment, making every visit fun and stress-free. Because we believe healthy habits start young. And for the grown-ups, we've got you covered too, with top-notch dental care for the whole family. Visit JCK Hospital today, located in Roysambu, opposite Park University on Lumumba Drive, and experience dental care that's gentle, professional, and family-friendly. JCK Hospital. You first.
A very good morning to you, our viewer. This is Healthy You program powered by Faith Today TV. We are so much glad that today you've gotten to join. Last week we began a very amazing conversation on the health of the mind, handling workplace pressures and wellness. And today is yet another day. Powered by JCK Hospital, we've brought you another amazing, heart-wrenching situation. We want to fix the myths, we want to fix the misconceptions, and we want to clarify and clear up the way so that we get to understand why is it that our young people are losing their lives. I'm so amazed to have you today, and I'm so excited that today you've gotten to join, to learn, to get informed, and to live healthy lives. And it's shocking. Very much shocking that more than 720,000 people lose their lives annually by suicide. And shockingly, 73% of these people come from low income and middle income economies, just like Kenya. So Kenya is not an exception. This is a study that was done by WHO. So it's as concerning as you can see that very many people are losing their lives. And of the bracket that is losing most of their lives is people or young people between the age of 15 and 29. And today, to help us understand what is happening, what is really happening around this particular population, and what can we do, is none other than Magdalene. And Magdalene, even as she goes to introduce herself, I'll go a little bit into her background to get to understand who she is today. She's an amazing guest. She's going to say hi to you. She's a licensed clinical psychologist with over 6 years experience. She has handled a number of difficult cases in terms and surrounding mental health conditions like depression, anxiety, bipolar, amongst many others. And her scope doesn't just cover mental illness, but other psychosocial issues such as relationship issues, family issues, work issues, and etc. She's very passionate about mental health. She's not just talking about it for the sake of the show. It is something she's living. So just get to introduce yourself to the viewer, get to tell them what inspires you most, and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. My name is Magdalene Jambi, as Stanley has given out. I am a clinical psychologist. I'm really happy to be here to discuss about a very important topic on suicide prevention, and yeah, I'm really happy to be part of this discussion today. So thank you so much for having me.
Welcome. It's great to have you. Youth suicide is on the rise.
Yeah.
And indeed, it's calling for a national wake-up call. What is happening?
Okay, so we have more rates of suicide. I would give examples based on statistics that we're able to pick. So around 2018 in Kenya alone, we had a report of people, maybe 1,158 people who had died by suicide. That was in 2018. And then the last statistic was done around in 2021, which showed that there was an increase to up to 1,597 people who were dying by suicide. There is also increase of suicide rates given, even just most recently, maybe in Nyeri County, that reported between October of last year, 2025, to even December of 2025, the rates of suicide were like 150 people within Nyeri County alone. Yeah. In other areas such as Nairobi County, the funeral homes normally give an estimate of around 40 to 50 people who die by suicide every weekend that they are collecting the bodies from.
Every weekend?
Yes. Yeah, so there is a high surge of suicide rates currently in the country.
So there's a problem.
Yes, a big problem.
Where does this problem begin from?
It could vest from many different issues, but the bigger one is actually from economic uncertainties, especially from the youth. I'll try to classify it based on the, youths who are currently working and also maybe teenagers who are still in school. So for the youth, the biggest problem is on financial challenges, the economic state of the country that is happening right now. Maybe they are in jobs, but it's not enough for them to cover for their basic needs or the needs that they require to just have a dignified kind of life. There's also academic pressure from people who are in school, especially from parents who are telling them, you need to get a certain grade, or I want you to get to a certain level academically. So there's that parental pressure that comes from, the parents and also internally from that person themselves. There's also just feelings of low self-esteem that happen for the person. It could probably stem from childhood experiences, if there's a lot of abuse that has happened within the family system. Or if, there's both physical abuse, is emotional abuse, is spiritual, also financial abuse as well. There's also issues such as bullying that happens in school. So for children who are being bullied often, they might look at themselves and feel, maybe I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy. And then they decide, okay, I just want to take, my life away. And then there are other issues such as comparison from, especially nowadays in the digital age, you're entering Instagram or TikTok and you see maybe somebody that they're living a very, nice kind of life, or maybe social media influencers, how they tend to portray how life is at, and you tend to now compare yourself to those people. So now that comparison might lead to you feeling low, sad about yourself. You feel like you're not good enough, and then eventually now leading to suicidal thoughts. And other than that, there's also mental illnesses that also lead to suicidal ideations and other thoughts. So part of them would look like now being diagnosed with depression. There's also diagnoses such as bipolar mood disorder, where you have highs, extreme highs in your mood, and also extreme lows in your mood. There's also other ones like schizophrenia, where a person might end up hallucinating. So sometimes those voices might end up telling the person, you're not good enough, you need to kill yourself, nobody loves you. Or as a command, you need to go take away, your life. So other different mental illnesses, or it could be anxiety, you're too anxious about the future, you're very uncertain about the future, and you feel quite hopeless about it, and then a person now ends up taking their lives or attempting suicide.
Right.
Yeah.
Powerful. I like how you've categorized them in terms of the economical, the academic, and the other categories. But I'm interested in a follow-up question for you. How is financial stability related to mental stability?
Okay. When you're financially okay, first of all, things feel, let me describe, when you have money, you feel nice, right? And you feel like you can be able to buy a number of things. You feel quite comfortable. You feel like you can be able to interact with people. Maybe if your friends invite you out for, maybe it could be a dinner party or an outing somewhere, you feel like, I have the finances to actually be in those certain areas. And now when the opposite happens, when you do not have the necessary finances, you start feeling low about yourself. If people invite you, hey, there's a birthday party at this place, would you like to come? You feel like, okay, I don't have enough finances. So even socially, I will not feel comfortable enough to be around these people. Yeah. There's also maybe the pressure to meet your basic needs. It could look like rent, could look like food, clothing, and just how you'd normally tend to feel as a result of finances, and also the financial responsibility that you might be experiencing. And I remember there was a study that happened that showed more men who attempted suicide was as a result of the financial burden that they were experiencing now from their families, given that they are the breadwinners of the family. Everybody's looking up to them. And especially if, you have multiple dependents looking up to you, asking you, okay, where's school fees, where's rent going to come from? I need money to do all these other things. And it's not just your own family. There's also maybe your siblings that you are supporting along the way. And that financial pressure becomes too much to a point that now men would decide, okay, don't feel as if life is worth living anymore, because a lot is being demanded from me for other people and not even about me, myself. I rarely get to pour into myself. It's immediately I get any money, it's all being drained out into other different areas. So finances do play a big role.
Are you always happy beginning? I mean, at the start of the month, or at the end of the month?
I think at the end.
That tells us more. Thank you so very much. I'd like us to go a little bit deeper now. You've gotten to look at the predisposing issues. I want us to go into the emotional state of a person. What does it look like? Give us language of what we feel normally in every single day. What does anxiety look like? What does bipolar disorder look like? Maybe the people out there who have these things and they don't know really if it's projecting or manifesting as so, because they can't give language to it. So how do we name the things we feel?
Okay. And that's also an interesting topic to discuss about, because there was, I think in 2021 or 2, there was a study that was done in Kenya by the mental health. Let me say, like, there was a quorum that was made to go look into mental health, and it showed that 40% of outpatients do actually have underlying mental health conditions, but then they're not being diagnosed. So there's need for education about mental health or mental problems, even at facility levels from hospitals as well. And some of the symptoms that people tend to now present with, for example, anxiety or other symptoms, you might have a number of symptoms, but then you go to hospital, they take tests, nothing is being found at all. You're having persistent headaches, persistent back pains, or vomiting, or other issues. You go to hospital, they run the tests, there's completely nothing that they can be able to find. We call them hypercoolest symptoms, And most of these hypercoolest symptoms are now more mental health related. So an example would look like anxiety. So anxiety, a person might end up feeling you're having a lot of heartburn. That is one of the symptoms. You might feel like you're consistently tired. You might feel like you're shaking and trembling. So your first thoughts would probably be, maybe am I diabetic? Have I lost, energy? Am I cerebral visually? There's also hot flashes that a person is experiencing within their body. There's breathlessness. You feel like you can't be able to catch your breath. You're trying to take deep breaths, but you're not even able to. So you start thinking, maybe I'm having a chest congestion issue or chest problems, but it's not, really that. There's a lot of nervousness that you end up feeling during the day. You're quite worried about, future things to happen, or future things or current things that are happening right now. Or a state of uneasiness. So that is mostly on anxiety. And then looking like, a symptom or a diagnosis such as depression, it would look like having severe headaches that are not being elevated despite you taking painkillers. So you're consistently on painkillers because you're having headaches. There is changes in your appetite. You're not eating well. You're not sleeping well. So or it could even be the opposite side of it, where you're sleeping excessively. There's insomnia and hypersomnia on the opposite end. We also have symptoms such as backaches or body pains within the body. You feel irritable most of the time. You feel like your moods are down for long periods of time, not just a short time, for long periods of time. Your moods are quite low, you're quite sad, you're unhappy, you've lost interest in activities that you liked doing. So if part of the activities that you loved doing was maybe watching football, for example, that is no longer enjoyable for you currently. If you loved being around people, around community, or perhaps if it's around church, you loved being around church and church members, you no longer feel interested in going to those spaces. You just want to stay home, mostly by yourself, to isolate yourself, not wanting to be around others. And then other symptoms look like this feeling like you're consistently tired, and you can't even explain why you are tired in the first place. It's not like you went out to dig or to farm, but you just feel like you're consistently fatigued. Exhausted, both physically and even emotionally as well. So those are some of the symptoms when it comes now to depression. With bipolar mood disorder, this is an extreme of mood. So you have very high highs and very low lows, for lack of a better word. Yeah. So in the highs, that's when you want to talk to people, you have a lot of energy, you're around people, you're very, talkative during that time, your moods are elated, or you feel like you're very happy, or sometimes quite irritable as well on that other side. You want to talk so much to people, you have so much energy to socialize with a lot of people during that time. You lack sleep, you might sleep for like 1 hour or 2 hours and you feel like you're perfectly okay. Like you're not feeling tired at all. You're having so many thoughts that are rushing through your head very fast before you can even fully process what those thoughts are. So that's on maybe the highs of it, and then you have now the lows, which is very similar to now depression, where you are on the opposite end. You don't want to talk to anybody, you want to stay by yourself, you don't have any you feel like you're having a challenge constructing maybe sentences or thoughts in your mind as compared to before, when you had a lot of thoughts that were flying through your head. This time around, even making basic decisions are a bit difficult for you. You don't have energy to do things such as maybe taking a shower or taking care of yourself. So self-care is also, out of the box at that period of time. When we have other conditions such as schizophrenia, which is essentially when a person is not in touch with reality. So here there are hallucinations where you are seeing things other people cannot see, or you're hearing voices that other people cannot be able to hear. And then we have like delusions where people talk about having false beliefs about something. I believe right now I am the president, or I have a meeting right now with the president in the next few minutes. Or I believe so and so is really madly in love with me, even though they have never, ever met me. There's also maybe changes in thought processes. You might want to communicate something like, I want to go to the market, but then you say, I want to go to the pen to take the house to, so things that are, there's confusion over them. And just not wanting to be around other people, not because you're sad or anything, but because you've completely lost the motivation to want to be around other people. So there is a vast number of mental illnesses. Actually, there are more than 300 mental illnesses. Over 300 mental illnesses.
Crazy.
So it's quite vast.
That was a deep dive, quite a deep dive, and I'm sure our viewer is getting to benefit a lot in terms of giving language to what they feel. That feeling, that manifestation, that habit that is changing, that behavior that is coming up, it's a reaction or a response to something deeper. And once you name it, you can be able to even sort it out. So let's come to, we've dealt with the individual. Let's look at the surrounding. What is this that people can look at? I mean, once they see these things, what should they not overlook as the key markers that they should not overlook? Somebody is going through a mental health crisis, or they're feeling suicidal and they can't talk about it. What are some of the things they should be looking out as the key markers that will help them go and help the person?
Okay. You have to, first of all, know the person when they are, first of all, okay. How do they, the state of stability, how do they normally talk, how do they behave, excuse me, what is the natural maybe predisposition of behaving in certain areas. And then now you can now start seeing significant changes in their behavior. Like, for example, I know you, Stanley,
Yes.
You're very energetic, you're talkative, you're around people, you always want to maybe be around community and network,
Yes.
But then when I start seeing that there's a withdrawal from you, just suddenly, you're no longer around other people, you're no longer interested in doing maybe activities that you used to love doing, you're isolating yourself, you're no longer talking as you often used to talk before, your energy level seems like it's very down, it's very low, and for consistently for long periods of time. And it's not because you have maybe perhaps recently lost somebody close to you, because that one is now as a result of grief. But here there is these symptoms that you are experiencing, but we can't exactly tell where it is all stemming from or coming from, and it's for long periods of time. So, like, for example, let me clarify. Sometimes you can feel low and sad and want to be by yourself for just maybe 2 or 3 days. Yeah, that's quite okay and quite normal. But then when it now overextends to more than 2 weeks of you consistently feeling that way, then that one we're now going to call depression. Yeah, so it's not just maybe today I've gone to work, my boss amenikasirisha and I don't feel like I want to relate to, anybody at this point in time. And now I feel sad and maybe I'm crying maybe that day and over maybe the weekend, but then my Monday I'm okay. For those few days, we'll not call it depression. Yeah, that's just maybe going through normal ups and downs. Yeah, but when it's now consistent for long periods of time, then it's a problematic thing. So if I notice that Stanley nowadays is not talking to people, he has lost weight or changes in weight. Maybe you've lost a lot of weight because as a result of depression, sometimes you end up losing your appetite, and of course when your appetite is not there, you'll end up losing a lot of weight along the way. So I'm seeing these changes in your weight, these changes in how you're behaving when you're around other people, secluding yourself most of the time and just wanting to be by yourself, and you seem like you're having a lot of thoughts as well. So those could be some of the major signs that I could be able to now notice.
So to you, our viewer, you're a parent, you're a manager, you're a teacher, don't ignore these signs. They are a marker of something deeper. So probably to be deeper, find out. Once you see these things, it's a call to help. That sometimes they do not know how to communicate it, they don't know how to speak it, but once you notice them, get to help them. Maybe I should ask this one, just a random question that has come to mind. Are these mental health related issues connected to personality? Are there issues connected to an introvert, an extrovert? The people say I'm just an introvert, I like my personal space, I'm an extrovert. So when he's an introvert, you do not notice when some of these things get to manifest, because naturally they look so calm, they look so collected, rarely do they talk too much. So it's not really outright. If you are outrightly able to isolate, there's a drastic change, there's some little shift. So is there a connection? What happens?
I'd say that's where I first of all pointed out that you need to know the person prior. Yeah, you need to do let me call our maybe baselines kawaida yake. Where are they normally at? Even if they are introverted, where are they normally at in terms of behavior or responding to other people or activities? So maybe in a household at home, maybe one of your siblings is just naturally, introverted. Maybe out there, they are not as talkative, they're not as engaged, they just want to be, at the home. But then if they're having something like depression, now at the place of the home, they don't even want to stay within maybe the living area or the lounge where most of the family members are at. They want to stay purely in their bedroom, secluded, alone by themselves for long periods of time. They're no longer eating as they used to before. Before, maybe your favorite meal, even as an introvert, was like a rice and, chicken. Nowadays, you can just eat maybe one spoon and maybe just chicken soup na nivo, or you're not, interested in eating as much. For extroverts, it's more easier to notice when there's that significant change of behavior, because extroverts are, all over the place, talking, connecting, and, with other people. So it's easier to spot when there's a huge change of behavior among them. But now with introverts, you have to actually really know, the person. And maybe the introvert, they prefer texting, compared to calling. But if you find your friend is no longer texting you as often as they did, or let me use nowadays sending reels. Yeah. So if your friend is if they're no longer sending you reels as often as they used to, suddenly they have deactivated their account with no particular reason. They're no longer online. Perhaps it's also a symptom that they're in a depressive episode. Maybe even as an introvert, they love gaming so much, but now they can no longer even do those basic things as, gaming, or basic things such as wanting to take a shower, because depression impounds on your energy levels. You feel like you're too tired to even want to get out of the bed. So you're consistently in bed for long periods of time. You don't want to shower. You don't want to even open up the curtains. You just want to be, entirely all by yourself. And there's no, nothing really much can help to change the way you're feeling or you're experiencing. And then now come those suicidal thoughts. Yeah.
I can sincerely relate, because if you do not know my baselines, you won't know when there's a change.
Yeah.
So you're emphasizing that self-awareness is both social and personal.
Exactly.
Maybe even as we prepare to run into a short break, what do you think many families, the people who die, even though they had a meal together the previous night, they kill themselves. You find a father has hung himself, even though the previous night you had a very good conversations. So why do many families only realize something was wrong when it's already escalated?
And it's already too late.
Mm-hmm.
Most especially for parents who have teenagers, they'd mostly think that this behavior is just normal teen behavior. Yeah, they're
It's a
just
stage.
moody. Yeah, it's a stage. They're just being moody. Hawataki kuongea na sisi. They don't want to be around family as much. So they'd end up dismissing most of these symptoms for just, it's just them being a teenager. It's just them being an adolescent. Yeah, so they'd end up dismissing such things. There's also busyness that occurs within also in the family setup. You could all be in the same house, but then everybody has very different schedules and everybody is busy. Maybe the mom has gone to work early, also the dad as well. And then the kids also have their own lives. Maybe they're in boarding school as well. And maybe when they come back, maybe they feel a little bit better, but then, back in school, there's issues perhaps that they are going through. Or just sometimes also the fact that you might think that this is naturally their behavior, them being just introverted. It's a change of their personality as of now. That could end up making you miss out on most of those symptoms. But sometimes people do usually state some words that could make you know that, hey, maybe there could be a problem here, such as, I feel very stuck. Nothing is working out in my life right now. I feel too tired. I don't want to keep going. I don't want to keep on doing, further things right now. So those are some of the symptoms that you can be able to, pick up from. Or sometimes you can see that there is a change in their behavior. Maybe families can note, okay, there's a change in behavior in this person. But then because they're afraid of bringing up that discussion, they'd end up just brushing it off.
Mm-hmm. We'll come and look at this situation where people come to the dining area and all of them, everybody is on their phone. Could it be that parents do not know their children well? Do they know, they have not discovered who their children are? I just want to remind you, our viewer, this program is powered and sponsored by JCK Hospital. They have 3 branches, one at Roysambu, being a level 4 hospital. They cover most of the services. Secondly, they have another branch at Juja Farm. You can as well, if you're around those environs, get to visit them. Then lastly, in Moranga at Maria, they have another level 3 healthcare facility. They are serving you with the spirit of excellence. If you have any issue, you're feeling your body has any challenges, there's a disease that needs to be taken care of, you have a chronic illness, you have any kind of condition and would like to be treated, feel free to visit them. So we are running into a short break. While we come back, we'll be looking at what can families do better, what can schools do better, what can institutions do better, and what can Kenya as a nation get to do better to solve this crisis. Thank you so much. Please remember to share in your questions. We are going to be covering all of your questions in the second segment, and we are looking forward to hear from you. Thank you. Good time.
Every great journey begins with a single step. And at Jesse K Hospital College of Health Sciences, that step is met with warmth, guidance, and possibility. Here, learning goes beyond the books. It is where future healthcare heroes are nurtured by passionate instructors who believe in their potential. From theory to practice, our healthcare assistant students gain real-world skills in real healthcare settings, preparing them to serve, support, and make a difference from day one. Because at Jessie K. Hospital College of Health Sciences, we don't just teach healthcare, we empower excellence. Admissions are now open for our January and February intakes. Step into your future today. Find us at Blessed House, 5th floor, opposite Garden City Mall. Jessie K. Hospital College of Health Sciences, empowering excellent healthcare.
Welcome back once again, our viewer. This is healthyyou program. Thank you so much for tuning in. In the first segment, we covered a lot of the signs. We covered a lot of the origin points. We covered a lot of the manifestations. And as promised, in this second segment, you're going to be asking yourselves, what can we do better as families? What can we do better as schools? What can we do better as church? What can we do better as hospital? What can we do better as a nation? But before we go then, there's a random conversation we just had in the break, during the break. You're asking yourselves, love and suicide. What is happening? Is as love turned into the devil's workshop? Yes.
Okay. I'd say when there's a lot of friction in the relationship with, from one partner to the other one, then a person might end up having, suicidal thoughts, or you feel quite low, depressed, or end up triggering a mental illness, such as maybe anxiety, or you end up feeling depressed, or as a result of that relationship, because you're constantly maybe being abused by this person, or maybe they say you're too fat, or you're too thin, you're not as smart as I thought you are, you're not this and that, so it starts affecting how a person views themselves, yeah? And then there's also the breakup period of time that might occur. So there's usually a sort of thoughts of suicide that occur during that period of time, because sometimes when you have maybe broken up with a person, most people would end up resulting to alcohol use or alcohol abuse or substance abuse, which now would end up increasing your your inability to judge situations correctly, or to feel very impulsive, and you might decide to just want to take away your life or to attempt suicide. So there's that breakup period of time, or as a result of the relationship, there's too much conflict, hamwiliwani just, entirely, or not just even relationships, even in marriages as well. Yeah. So if it's no longer working, and you feel like maybe there's too much stigma around, maybe if I come out as, a couple, and then we see that, we are no longer together, we are getting divorced, how will society end up, viewing us? Will maybe the church or the community around me accept me as a divorcee? So such relationship issues or marital issues could end up making a person feeling very bad about themselves. They'll feel like they have failed because maybe the marriage has failed or the relationship has failed. And as a result of that, they think they are now a failure in life. And then now they feel very low about themselves and now decide to attempt suicide. So relationships can definitely also affect that.
What can people do better, especially in this aspect of where parents, what can they do to improve their relationships with their children that informs the relationship they have with other people?
Spending time with your children is the most important part, because from there they can feel emotionally safe to talk to you about the issues that they are going through. So if maybe you as a parent, yes, you're at home, but then you've just woken up in the morning, you've gone, and then you've come back late in the evening, there's no point in time that your child can even have the access to come to you and talk to you about the issues that they're probably going through. Yeah. So there's that first part, you being available as a parent, and not only just being physically available, but also creating what you call emotional safety, such that your child can feel comfortable enough to come to you and tell you, hey, mom, dad, I am being bullied at school, yeah, or I am not performing as well at school and I'm feeling low about it. Will you be, as a parent, will you now be harsh to the child? Yeah. Have you constantly maybe been physically abusing them or emotionally abusing them? You're telling them you're stupid and you'll never amount to anything, or why can't you get over, these things, vumilia, so you end up dismissing this child. So if they're actually going through certain issues, the child will not be able to feel like you're a safe space for them to go to express the issues that they are, experiencing at that point in time. So it's being physically available, creating emotional safety between you and your child, or an approachable environment where they can easily come to you and tell you, I am struggling, with this number of things. And also having discussions about mental health, or just checking in on each other on a regular basis to find out how they're doing. Not just academically, because parents just look at academics. Mwenda shule mwalimu amesema nini, hapa you're failing, this one is a pass, this one is, you're doing well, but are you looking at the child holistically? How is the child relating with the other students in their class? How is the child relating to the other students even outside of class? Are they engaging maybe in extracurricular activities, or are they always inside, of their rooms? How are they engaging with the teachers as well? And not just even in that space, but even at home. Do they have friends back at home? Do you even know who these friends are in the first place? So just knowing your child as well, very holistically, does provide a space for the child now to come and tell you, I am going through this and this, not them seeing, daddy ni simba, daddy ni mkali akikuja tutaenda bedroom, all of us, we just want to hide from him. Of course, if I am going through anything that is difficult for me and I know maybe my dad ni simba, there's no way I'd ever go approach him, because I know they're too strict, or they're too tough, or they'll just end up dismissing. Like, for example, when you're regularly being told, so ni kitu ya kulilia, so a child will feel like they're being dismissed, by their parents. So even if I'm actually going through bullying, or I'm having low self-esteem, I'll not go to my parent and tell them this is what I am actually experiencing. Yeah.
So you're emphasizing that parents should not be scary to their kids,
Yes.
even though you're trying to command leadership, you're trying to command authority. Remember to be a safe space as well. Very few parents are able to get the gist of that. There are very many questions that are coming in. We are going to cover as much as we can. Thank you so much, our viewers, for sending in your questions. We're going to be delving into them in a few, and we're going to be finding answers to them as well. There's this one who is asking and commenting that this is a very needed conversation. Thank you. Are men really less likely to seek help, or is that just a stereotype? That's what people say. This is Koi. So what is up with men seeking help? Especially, you can mention something to do with how is the difference between the suicide cases in men and women?
Okay. Generally, when it comes to suicide attempts, more women will attempt suicide compared to men, but more men die as a result of suicide compared to women. And this is as a result of, men using more lethal means. Maybe they're using firearms, or they've hanged themselves, or something very, lethal. Well, women might mostly try to use overdosing, overdosing on medications. So when it comes to like the number of people who die by suicide, more men die by suicide compared to women. And I'd say most men find it difficult to open up and to share about the issues that they are going through. Compared to women, women, they'll sit down at the salon or at certain place. They'll start talking about this and this happened, this and that happened in my life. And they can get emotional support as a result of that social connectedness. But then with men, they find it really difficult to share about what it is that they are going through, because there's that fear of judgment. When you're mwanaume in a gari, like, you're weak, exactly. Mwanaume kazi tu ni kuvumilia, ama mwanaume hafai kulala, mwanaume anafaa kuwa na work 24/7. Those stigmas or stereotypes that are there for men might make them not want to seek out help. Or you feel like as a man, maybe when I go to a counselor or a therapist, it shows that I am weak or I cannot be able to handle my issues, or I have not thought of other solutions, or maybe I am stupid as a result of that. Yeah. Or because perhaps you are the main breadwinner of the family and everybody is looking up to you, you feel like you can't even start sharing the issues that you're going through with them, the struggles that you're going through with them. So yes, most men would rather not talk more about the issues that they are going through as a result of the environments that they are in. If they feel like the environment is very judgmental towards them, then they're definitely not going to share. If there's a lot of toxic masculinity that is going around, then they'll definitely not share what it is that they are going through, and they will end up masking the symptoms that they are having. And then suddenly now a person has now died by suicide. You're wondering, hey, what happened? They seem like, they were okay, but kumbe internally, because they are not crying, physically you can't see those tears, but emotionally they're going through those issues, then it becomes a surprise to people and to the society as to why they actually resorted to suicide. So it's as a result of now stigma around men pursuing mental health services, and not just even mental health. You even know when it comes to men, when they go to seek out for health services, wakati things zimekuwa critical, very very critical, wakati sasa umeshindwa kabisa, that is when they go to hospital to seek out for treatment. But women, maybe when there are a few issues here and there, they are very fast to go seek out for health services. But for men, it takes them a really long period of time to actually go or have that health seeking behavior.
Kim is asking, is social media making things worse? Maybe you can respond to him in a few seconds.
Yeah, it does make things worse depending on how you are viewing things, your perspective or your mind around it. And that is back to the question of comparison, or to the, we had previously discussed on comparison. Are you comparing yourself to your peers and to other people? Maybe you start Googling and then you find there's a 19-year-old or a 20-year-old person who's out there who's already a millionaire because of Forex trading. And then you get into Forex trading, you end up losing the little amount of money that you already had. Yeah. Or this person looks like they're doing really well in their lives, and yet we had started off with them. Is there something, wrong with me? Why am I not in that particular space? So you start comparing yourself to these other people. You can be able to look at people in social media and see them more as, I admire this person and I want to get to the point that they are getting to, but not you comparing yourself to them. That's now the difference in terms of perspective. You might look at somebody, maybe, oh, I like CC Winans, I like the way she sings, I like the way she does, her things, and I want to emulate that behavior. Or, and that would be now the difference in terms of how social media would end up affecting you. And then also as well, with now algorithms, you find most teenagers are more exposed to algorithms that lead to self-harming behavior. So that bring them about, I'm having suicidal thoughts or self-harming behavior. So of course, if you're consuming more and more content around it, then you also start exhibiting those same symptoms. So how does your algorithm, look like? Is it full of substance abuse? Is it full of self-harming behavior? Is it full of, negative things or negative perspective about life? You'll just go listen to this one person and they're just talking about the world is a horrible place to live in. Nobody is good. Stay by yourself. Do not trust anybody. Men are toxic. Women are toxic. So even the person that you're also listening to or you're consuming from also really determines how you're going to end up thinking and also behaving as a result of that.
Powerful. Thank you so much. I can see Dr. Mokaya, Pathways to Healing, is watching us from Thome Estate and appreciating this powerful and timely conversation. Thank you so very much for joining. There's another person asking here, is if someone attempted before, are they more likely to try again? Does it recur?
Yes, it does. So a prior suicide attempt is a risk factor of you actually attempting more suicide along the way.
And so?
Because the previous issue probably was not resolved. Yeah, and you just had a suicidal attempt and then you brushed, it was not successful. You brushed through the issues that you were going through, or you just hid it, under the rug or under the carpet, and you never really dealt with that issue. So when more things are now building up, and as a result, that first thing you never dealt with in the first place, it now leads you to having more suicidal ideations or suicidal thoughts as a result of not addressing the previous issues. So yes, having previous risk of suicide, attempt also increases your risk of you actually dying by suicide. So by the time you find a person has actually died by suicide, when you look at their history, they have actually attempted suicide a number of times prior.
They have a history.
Yes.
Oh, great. So what can they do? I mean, in terms of approaching these solutions, you mean we have to sort and identify those issues and solve them earlier so that they do not recur in future. Somebody else is saying, I think this is powerful. Youth suicide is so sad. Can church leaders handle this, or do we need professionals? You can also just mention the role of the church, schools, and the institutions they're in. What can they do? Even the country as well.
Okay. I'd say it's both ways. Because mostly in churches, people will go to their pastors as the first space where they go to share about the issues that they are actually going through before they even think about going to a counselor, before thinking about going to a therapist. So actually churches, leaders are the first point of contact for most people, especially who are within the faith, yeah? Or sana, if maybe a parent has noticed there's an issue with their child, they'll refer them first of all to who? The pastor, yeah? So there is a place where both the pastor or the leaders can be able to work together with mental health professionals to help assist this person who's going through certain issues. Because also at the same time, there are questions that maybe the spiritual leader can be able to answer compared to me as a psychologist. Questions such as, why did God allow this to happen? I as a therapist may not be able to have such answers to it. But, when you're able to speak to, the pastor, they can be able to help navigate that aspect of faith or the questioning of faith that they are having, and then refer them to a mental health specialist who can also look at the different root causes that this person is going through and helping to assist them through it as well. Yeah, so it's more of an integration. It's let me call it a teamwork.
Teamwork.
Yes.
Where should pastors get their help?
They can get help even from other mental health specialists, and also know pastors. They also have somebody that they look up to, like a sort of, let me call it a hierarchy for lack of a better word, yeah? A person who's mentored them before, they can be able to go to them and tell them about the dynamics of the issues that they are experiencing. And from there, they can get help as well. And also, you can be able to go to your doctors, you can be able to go to counselors, to licensed mental health practitioners who can be able to assist you through the issues that you are going through. Because maybe, for example, you can go to your maybe leader, and then they can tell you, maybe you've gone to, your spiritual leader, yeah? But the issue that you're going through is you're having hallucinations. Your spiritual leader probably will not be able to assist you with those hallucinations. You actually need to go to a doctor or to a mental health professional who can be able to assist you through those issues. So, and also remember, at the end of the day, a pastor is also a human being. Yeah, your body works in the same way as any other person's body does. So yeah, when you're seeking out for health as well, when you're going to hospital because you're sick as a pastor, also seek out for mental health services as well to just take care of your mind and your well-being as well.
Thank you so much, Magdalene, for that. Catalina here is asking, how do you convince someone that their life matters when they genuinely believe it doesn't? There are people who don't believe their life is worth anything.
Yeah. And that could possibly be as a result of continuous abuse that they have gone through, through childhood, or a lot of stresses that they are currently going through. You may be the primary breadwinner and you're having so much stress, financial stresses, yeah? So maybe just telling them that perhaps your life matters might not exactly help in that moment in time. You need to refer them to a mental health specialist. Your work there would be to just be there for them, listen to them, know what it is that they are going through, support them through. But make sure you have referred them to a mental health practitioner. I'd say this example, there used to be an advert kitambo ilikuwa nasema maumivu yakizidi mwone daktari. So even with this person, you keep telling them your life, it matters, but then there is a problem. They still can't be able to understand that, or they feel like they are not able to get through that. Please refer them to now a professional, a doctor, psychologist, psychiatrist, who can be able to help them navigate through the root cause of the issue that they are going through.
Lastly, what is the difference between being sad and being clinically depressed?
Being sad can change from day to day, within maybe 2 days. Maybe I've broken up with my boyfriend or with my girlfriend. I will feel sad for a number of days, yeah? But with depression, it's long term. It's consistently there for more than 2 weeks, where each and every day you're feeling very bad, you're feeling very low. You're having more symptoms, not just sadness alone, symptoms like we had talked about earlier, like you've lost your appetite for eating, you're not able to sleep well, you're having multiple aches within your body, you're feeling guilty, you feel like your life is not worth it, or you're having also now suicidal thoughts as a result. But being sad, it's a normal human experience because you have emotions. So today you can feel happy, tomorrow you're sad, and it changes. Sadness, it's not like it's very consistent, yeah? But when you now see that you're being sad for long periods of time and it's persistent, and even if something good happens in your life and you still feel sad, then there is a possibility that it's now depression. It's not just the normal sadness. So maybe today in the morning I might wake up, I feel quite sad, but maybe in the afternoon I have watched a certain reel and I feel a bit lighter, during my check, and I feel, much better, and I can go about maybe the rest of my day, or even tomorrow I feel much more brighter. But with depression, it's something different. It's very consistent for long periods of time.
Thank you so much. That was an in-depth conversation. I can see the questions that are coming in. Some of them are increasing. Many. We will create another part 2 of this conversation so that we are able to cover most of these other parts. Maybe as the last, as you give your last shot, you can tell us what should the nation and the policymakers do in terms of curbing this in the long term. What can they do? Then we will come to a conclusion.
Okay.
Yes.
I think first step has already been done by the policy makers when they were pushed to decriminalize suicide, which now happened last year. Because previously, when you attempted suicide, it was rated as a crime. It's a crime to actually do it. And even if you've attempted it, there were high chances of a person not being able to go seek for help because they're afraid if I go there, watanisema, kwa polisi, nifungiwe ndani, yeah? But right now, since it has now been decriminalized, we are now starting to see more people reaching out for help. So in terms of policymakers, they have made one step towards that, though they can make more steps, because looking at the budget for health, only 0.01% is allocated to mental health. 0.01%. So that is very, very low. So policymakers can be able to change that dynamic so there's more mental health support across the country, in different areas of the country, from northern area to south and central, all the different areas of Kenya, for people to be able to actually access mental health services because it's not being provided for by the government. For communities, it will be important for you to build social networks or social connectedness with other people. Because another risk factor for, dying by suicide is feeling lonely or alienated from other people. So when people are more in a community and you're sharing whatever it is that you're going through openly without any form of judgment, then it helps to ease out the burden that person is sharing. Like this saying that normally says a problem shared is half solved. Yeah, just as a result of you sharing and pouring out on the issues that you're going through, it makes you feel much better and minimizes the chances of you attempting suicide. So as a community, having more connectedness with each other, having more fellowships, having more times when we can meet and really talk about, the issues that we are going through and supporting one another around it, finding where you live, which is the nearest mental health service I could be able to, access to, which hospital is providing for mental health services. So the different areas that you can be able to access help when the need now occurs. And not just even that, also as preventative measures. People normally go for, medical checkups. You're checking your sugar levels, BPs, but then you forget to check in about your mental health. You can be able to go to facilities and ask for just a mental health checkup for you to know how are you actually doing, mentally in terms of your mental health. So regular checkups for yourself.
That was powerful. It was a powerful show, Magdalene. Maybe you can give our viewers your parting shot, and how can they get to reach you? Share your number.
Okay. My parting shot would be, it's okay for you to seek out help. If you feel like you are struggling, if you feel like you're not okay, if you feel like you're too hopeless, it's okay for you to actually reach out for help, reach out for support from qualified mental health practitioners, from psychiatrists, from, doctors and psychologists. It's okay for you to ask for help. You are not alone. And, suicide, I usually say it's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. There is a solution that you can be able to get, or a coping skill that you can be able to get, that can help you navigate through the different issues that you are going through. So please feel free to reach out for mental health support. You can find me on Instagram or Facebook as Therapy with Njambi. Therapy with Njambi is that one. And my email as well, magdanjambi254@gmail.com.
Powerful. Juliet Mwangi is passing her shout outs. She said, good to see you, Jambi, on the show. Thank you so much, Juliet, for joining. Lastly, our sponsor, JCK Hospital, is still with us. They are having a lot of activities coming up and programs coming up, and the most recent is the outreach and medical camp coming from 16th of March to 18th. So keep tabs, keep your eyes on the social media. Once they come in, go and get checked, go and receive your services, go and receive treatment. Whatever thing you need for the children, for the adults, for the women, for the men, be on the lookout at JCK Hospital on Instagram, on Facebook, and even TikTok. So keep your eyes on the social media accounts. You'll be able to see so much. They have so much offers coming up this month and next month, and I'm sure you're going to benefit from them. Last month they had dental month. This month they're going to be announcing what they have, but be sure to join in for the medical outreach from 16th to 18th. And lastly, it was an amazing conversation. What I have captured as my takeaway is, don't use suicide as a permanent solution for a temporary problem. So the problem is temporary. Miles Monroe says that everything is temporary, including how you feel, including that job fallout, including that breakup, including that emotion, even that emotion you're feeling currently right now as a bad feeling. It's temporary. It won't last forever. Just get to know how to balance it. There are very many places where you can find help, from schools to church to hospital, even to your friends, peer support. There are very many places, and most of the people are looking forward to help you. So don't assume nobody cares about you. Very many people care about you. There's this notion people keep saying that nobody cares, but I personally believe somebody cares. So it's okay to go and ask for help, irrespective of your gender. Being a man, being a woman, go and seek help. So for policymakers, remember to consider not just development, but also mental stability. That was healthyyou program today on youth suicide. It was amazing to see you today, Magdalene.
Thank you.
And this is your host, Stanley. I'm looking forward to us having another conversation around it, so that we get to heighten it for the benefit of our viewers. So thank you so much for your questions. Keep your eyes on our social media accounts. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, we shall be creating time to make sure that we're answering those questions and we're getting to solve your problems. So thank you so very much. We're looking forward to see you on the next episode next week, Tuesday, same time, same place. Adios.
Bye.
Muchachos. Bye-bye.
At JCK Hospital, we understand that a child's smile is priceless. That's why our dental services are tailored with care and compassion to ensure your little ones have the best experience possible. From gentle checkups to specialized treatments, our pediatric dental experts create a safe and friendly environment, making every visit fun and stress-free. Because we believe healthy habits start young. And for the grown-ups, we've got you covered too, with top-notch dental care for the whole family. Visit JCK Hospital today, located in Roysambu, opposite Park University on Lumumba Drive, and experience dental care that's gentle, professional, and family-friendly. JCK Hospital. You first.